Bartholomew Kuma. It's not that many people talking about Kuma. Like, quite frankly, Kuma isn't talked about enough. Because of how Kuma and his decisions changed One Piece and the One Piece world forever. The One Piece story is manipulated by a lot of Kuma's decisions. Even the end game, from what we can foresee, is impacted by decisions Kuma made throughout the story. And we're going to highlight that today because I think Kuma is one of the unsung heroes of the story and some of your favorite moments. If you just think about your favorite moments, in some way, Kuma either facilitated this moment or had a hand in it or a palm in it. You get it. Anyway, first we have to talk about an unsung hero in its own right, the award-winning Surfshark VPN. And they are the sponsors of this video. We shop online, we browse the internet on a daily basis, which leaves us exposed to several threats we may not even know about. The purpose of this VPN is to protect you from the unknown lurking threats via different proven methods. For instance, masking or hiding your IP address, protecting others from access to your country's location, and even your download history. The VPN will block ads, malware, phishing attempts, and trackers attempting to steal your information, even bypassing censorship in particular countries. With Surfshark, you can do this by searching via different locations. You also would protect yourself from targeted ads that these companies acquire by purchasing your compromised information. So, to protect yourself while doing so from one account, which covers unlimited household devices, use code B.D.A for 83% off and 3 extra months free. If you're okay with being vulnerable, fine. But if you want to protect yourself and your information, use the link below and sign up for Surfshark. But before we continue, you're not using your palm here, you can just use your finger. Tap that subscribe button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this because we're going to get into Kuma. Well, that sounded weird. We're going to talk about Kuma because I think he's amazing. Not only as a character and the foresight he has, but man, just the impact he's had on the story. It's gone unnoticed. Well, not by me, but it's time. So Bartholomew Kuma, we know a lot more about him now, but back then in his introduction, when we saw all the other warlords, we were wondering what's up with this guy. He carries a Bible, very soft-spoken, but he's a huge dude, looks like a bear. Who is this guy? I think when we first really meet Kuma is Thriller Bark. And that's through the riveting conversation he had with Moria. But I like the introduction and how people responded to him, for instance, Perona, because they're like, oh my God, Kuma, this is someone that's on the same level as Moria. But really quickly, what I liked about that interaction was Kuma seems to have a quirk where talking to Moria, because Moria called him a government dog, which is funny because they're all government dogs, but he's saying he's the most obedient, and he called him Tyrant Kuma, right? So then it's adding layers to his character. But Kuma asked Moria, if you were to go on a vacation, where would you want to go? Which is an iconic line at this point because we know what transpires. But Moria's response is like, yo, do you take me for a fool? I know what your powers are, right? But that conversation was telling. Kuma was essentially delivering a message to Moria talking about Crocodile and his successor, Marshall D. Teach. He was pretty much explaining to Moria that, hey, Crocodile is being replaced by Marshall D. Teach, otherwise known as Blackbeard. Being a former member of the Whitebeard Pirates, he had an original bounty of 0, and he's who the government approved. Moria was surprised, and then Moria goes into how, because the position has been filled, then the balance would be restored, right? And Moria kind of says it a bit offhandedly, like if the balance is kind of a joke to him, not that serious. It's almost like something that the world government spouts that Moria doesn't really believe in. He's like, whatever, balance, whatever, it is what it is. Kuma's response, now again, knowing what happened, so telling, right? Kuma says, I'm imagining the exact opposite, but never mind that for now. And when you think about it, in a previous chapter, Kuma talked to Nami about Luffy's older brother. Is it true that Luffy has an older brother? He's like, yeah, Ace, so what of it? And so you piece things together. Kuma had the foresight to understand what was happening here, where Blackbeard, a former member of the Whitebeard Pirates, captured Portgas the Ace, turned him in, got the warlord position, that would eventually lead to Whitebeard going after Ace. So Kuma knew what was to come based off of those actions, which of course ties into his history with the revolutionaries. But I think what I really liked through all this is Kuma's disposition, because even warning Moria about, hey, the world government is worried that Straw Hat could take you out. They didn't tell me to help you, they told me to warn you, but if you need my help, I'm here. And that gave some insight into the type of character that Kuma is. And typically, I really enjoy the stoic characters maybe a bit soft-spoken, introverts but not really, strategists, and people who think ahead. And now knowing a bit of Kuma's history, him being the former king of the Sorbet Kingdom, his agreement to being experimented on by Vegapunk, like there's so many layers to this character, but it only continues, right? Again, Kuma is extremely layered because he is a member of the Revolutionary Army, former king as I mentioned, and also a former warlord. Like I said, Kuma's had a hand in some of the major events in One Piece. We mentioned Thriller Bark. At the end of this, after Moria is defeated, Kuma reported to the world government that Moria was defeated. Then he was supposed to kill the Straw Hats. He then attacked them, and it came down to him versus Zoro. And of course, we can't forget, both Sanji and Zoro were willing to trade their lives for Luffy. Zoro knocked out Sanji, and then ultimately Zoro took all of Luffy's pain that he endured in the fight against Moria. To this day, my top one moment in the story. But the thing that really raised some eyebrows, other than Zoro and his incredible feat, the display of loyalty is unmatched. Again, Sanji should get some credit as well because he was willing to do it, but it's what Kuma said. Speaking of Zoro saying he has exceptional friends, then he says, he's your son after all, Dragon. In the moment, we weren't sure what was going on. What was Kuma saying? But now knowing his connection to Dragon, it's subtly telling us something, right? Because Zoro is willing to lay his life down for Luffy. Is Kuma indirectly telling us that he's willing to lay his life down for Dragon? Is Dragon the reason why he gave his body willingly to the world government to be experimented on? Because he's praising Luffy's friends while also praising Dragon, so one can assume Dragon has friends that are willing to die for him as well. Is Kuma that friend? And based off of a deduction, it's very easy to surmise that Kuma back in the day or at some point was Dragon's right hand. We're not sure though. We're not even done yet because Sabaody Archipelago, I think that's where the story shifted for a lot of people to the point that you started to question the Straw Hats and their dreams, not in regards to whether they would accomplish them, but Kuma and his presence in this arc turned the story on its head like it did in Thriller Bark. In this arc, not only did we have Kizaru and the Pacifistas and Sentomaru after the Straw Hats, we had Kuma show up as well. But there were some contradictions because Moria was saying Kuma was the most loyal to the world government. But we saw in Thriller Bark, they gave him a direct order. He disobeyed it. Now at Sabaody Archipelago, he's saying he wishes to save the Straw Hats. What is going on here? And then why Kuma is so instrumental to just how things played out in the world of One Piece is that Kuma teleported all the Straw Hats to places in which he felt like it would benefit them the most. He did that. So Luffy going to Amazon Lily, Zoro going to Mihawk, all the different places that he sent the Straw Hats had a ripple effect in regards to what transpired even going into the time skip. And we can't even forget, after the Marineford War, while the Straw Hats were away training, Kuma stayed back to protect the Sunny. He approached Shaki, told him he was an ally, and then he joined them in protecting the Thousand Sunny. This man is really instrumental in a lot of major things. We can talk about the Marineford War and just how devastating Ursa's shock was, but Kuma has a mission, and the Straw Hats seem to be tied with that, and I think it's mainly because of Dragon. Now, at this point, the Kuma that we know, he's a slave. The last time we saw him, he was at Marijoa, and it seems like this was the punishment for him aiding Luffy. But it's a bit deeper because Kuma and his sacrifice led to not only the pacifistas and their creation, you could argue because of Kuma's sacrifice and him agreeing to be experimented on, led to the abolition of the warlord system. Yes, we don't know exactly what it is yet, this SSG, but I'm going to assume Kuma being the baseline of these experiments, whatever they found out with him, they've applied that to SSG. So even at this point, we don't know exactly the reasons behind Kuma's sacrifice, but one can assume it has something to do with Dragon. And if you use context clues, I'm assuming that's a sacrifice he was willing to make. So that's just a quick overview on Bartholomew Kuma and some of the major decisions that he had a hand in, or palm, and just how different the story would be if he didn't make the decisions he made. I mean, the story would be over if he decided to kill the Straw Hats in Thriller Bark, or in Sabaody if he sent them in different places, or if he decided not to protect the Sunny, or even if he decided not to give himself up as an experiment. There's so many things in which Kuma has been so instrumental, and I don't think it's over. I think it's more to come, especially when we get his backstory and what led up to this point. Guys, please give Kuma his flowers while he's well, I guess he's not really alive, but he is, and appreciate this character. Because again, one of the unsung heroes, somebody that deserves a lot of credit for not only how he's aided the Straw Hats, but his impact in the One Piece story. But guys, give me your thoughts. How do you feel about Kuma? Do you think he gets the recognition and the credit he deserves outside of just power scaling, saying, oh, he has an overpowered devil fruit? As a character, pretty significant when you look at the One Piece ecosystem. But guys, give me your thoughts. Make sure to like the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BragoDAce. Follow me on Instagram at BragoD.Ace. Thank you to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Guys, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
I start doubting me, I felt lost. I rewrite it.